Hi, my name is Ellie Coomer, and today I will be talking about digital echo chambers. What role does digital media play in creating ideological communities, and how do digital algorithms influence or reinforce political and social behavior? I'm going to propose that media convergence has created unprecedented digital echo chambers that influence radical political and social behavior. Over the last century, the rapid growth of media convergence has created digital echo chambers. They influence radical political and social behavior. But let's first define what media convergence means in the context of this argument. Before the 1990s, most internet traffic was made up of emails, file transfers, and online databases. The creation of the World Wide Web was the first time people had access to information linked to other information, and the invention of web browsers made the internet accessible to mass audiences. And, for example, blogs became a forum for regular people to share their ideas and opinions. Due to the invention of new technologies, for example, mobile phones, various digital activities like calling, texting, taking pictures, and forms of media like TV, streaming, news, social media are all integrated into a single device. This makes consuming different ideas, opinions, stories, advertising, and current events all the more accessible as a part of our daily schedule. For example, when I check my email on my phone, I'm a 2-second click away from absorbing information from Instagram or TikTok. Because of this convergence, we're interacting with integrated media in unprecedented ways. Now that we have defined how the spread of technology has changed our way of consuming information, we can define what an echo chamber really means.
You're living in an echo chamber and it's trapping you.
When we have overwhelming access to information that simply reinforces our existing ideas, it results in an echo chamber environment. The idea that individuals tend to interact with others who share similar ideas and characteristics to them. It's human nature. Echo chamber causes an individual to be secluded from opposing viewpoints and ideas, so that they truly believe that everyone is agreeing with them or thinking the same things as them. This is comforting to us, and many will not realize that it's happening or go out of their way to hear other opinions. Echo chambers can be extremely harmful because of this, due to confirmation bias. It's a human psychological factor where we have a tendency to interpret new evidence and information as confirmation of our existing beliefs. Additionally, it seems as technology develops, our culture tends to prioritize efficiency and comfort. For example, food delivery services. People don't even have to leave their homes for grocery shopping anymore. Streaming services. People expect to be able to access all their favorite movies and TV shows in one place without ads. One of the most successful short-form content apps is TikTok. As of November 2025, the platform has an estimated 1.59 billion monthly active users. The United States has the largest TikTok audience, which is just over 135.79 million users, which is more than a third of the country's population. TikTok's advanced algorithm is a little bit unique. It still uses mathematics to estimate human behavior like other social medias. But the app is disturbingly good at reading individuals' preferences and steering them towards a certain side of the space. Whether someone's interested in a certain kind of politics, a certain celebrity, a fandom, etc., TikTok is incredibly skilled at revealing our own desires to ourselves. To give an example of what I mean by sides of TikTok, one of them is called Book Talk, and it's basically a community where people share their favorite books. But once you kind of get into the algorithm of this community, you're gonna be hearing the same books over and over again until you think, wow, everybody loves this one book. I should read it. Well, this happened to me. I ended up reading one of the books on Book Talk, and it was horrible. It was awful. And I was so confused because everyone in the world seemed to like it. Well, it wasn't everyone in the world. It was actually just the few, probably 1,000 people on that side of TikTok. So how does the algorithm technically work? Well, TikTok has shared some of its inner workings of the software with the public, and it takes into account factors like likes and comments, information like captions, and how long people spend on videos. However, a document was shared with New York Times that revealed a little bit more information. It explains the company's ultimate goal of creating daily active users by increasing retention, whether a user comes back, and time spent, how long they spend on the app. Algo Transparency is a group based in Paris that has studied YouTube's recommendation system, and Mr. Chaslot, the founder, takes a dark view of the effect that TikTok has. He says the algorithm tries to get people addicted rather than giving them what they really want. I think it's a crazy idea to let TikTok's algorithm steer the life of our kids. Each video a kid watches, TikTok gains a piece of information on him. In a few hours, the algorithm can detect his musical taste, his physical attraction, if he's depressed, if he might be into drugs, and many other sensitive information. The document also explained other aspects of the algorithm. User behavior is summed up by using a formula not unlike Facebook, Instagram, other meta apps. It uses likes and comments and playtime in a short formula. The recommender system also gives scores to all videos based on this equation and returns user videos with the highest score. Some authors might have cultural references in their videos that viewers can only understand by going through more of their videos or searching up other ones on TikTok. I can't tell you how many times I've done this, where I'm watching a video that makes a cultural reference like something crazy that happened at the Met Gala, and I didn't watch it, I don't have any idea what they're talking about, but I want to know what's so funny, so I go to the comments, I look around, and TikTok has a feature where the top search from the video appears in a blue line at the top of the comment section. You can click on it, and it takes you directly to a video on that topic. You could go down a rabbit hole for hours clicking on more videos linked to other videos, and that's exactly what TikTok wants you to do. In January of 2021, researchers conducted a study exploring the diverse ways that echo chambers can impact people's opinions. They performed a comparative analysis of more than 100 million pieces of content concerning controversial topics like gun control, vaccinations, and abortion from Facebook, Reddit, and Twitter. The algorithm on each app is different, and therefore, the amount of selective exposure will also differ from platform to platform. Researchers found that aggregation in homophilic clusters of users dominates online dynamics. This means that connected regions within a network where members share similar attributes, interests, or characteristics dominated spaces on social media. Interestingly, they found that in comparison to news consumption on Facebook and Reddit, there's higher segregation on Facebook, demonstrating that platforms with a feed algorithm tweakable by users like on Reddit and social media that doesn't provide such an option have distinctly different effects on echo chambers. A very important aspect of digital echo chambers are the influencers that sort of lead them. Influencers have really risen in the last few decades and become a new form of entertainment and marketing. However, independent companies recognizing the success of video content have started sponsoring videos and posts in a new form of advertising, reaching a large community. Despite having a very unique job and lifestyle, influencers still appear as ordinary people. Many viewers even feel that they can relate to and have a relationship with these creators. The rise in influencers has created an unprecedented parasocial relationship that really just wasn't possible with former technology. Social media has increased this dynamic because creators will sometimes interact directly with their audience. Alex Kresovich, a doctoral student at UNC School of Journalism, has published research on parasocial relationships. He says the feelings people have with these media persona are nearly indistinguishable from their friends in real life, despite the fact that the celebrity in question, not always, but usually has no idea you exist. Politicians have caught up with this idea and have started taking advantage of this parasocial relationship. This year, the Federal Election Commission determined that a political candidate can pay an influencer for an endorsement, and neither side has to disclose anything. In July of 2024, influencer Jake Paul posted an Instagram video of him play fighting with President Donald Trump. This video racked up more than 1.5 million likes and even more views. He's not a political influencer.
And like I said earlier today, guys, I'm hanging out with the Dobre brothers.
He posted this in between other posts of his vacation and his boxing career and his body wash brand.
We're gonna see how well I know the W stand. Blindfolded, let's go.
Another example is last year, Democratic Vice President nominee Tim Walz. He appeared in a YouTube video going on a walk with his dog, and Matt Nelson, the human behind the popular channel We Rate Dogs.
You are so cute. Can I pet your dog?
Of course.
What's their name?
The Scout.
The video served as a get-to-know-you video, but it got over 600,000 views on YouTube, and another clip posted to Twitter has more than 1.5 million views. A representative for both Nelson and Jake Paul said they were not compensated for their videos. Influencer Tana Mojo, a YouTuber with more than 5 million subscribers, recently suggested during an episode of her podcast that she
was just offered a lot of money to endorse a political party, like millions. And then I was being allegedly told an alleged list of other influencers that have already hypothetically accepted money to do those hypothetical things that were hypothetically offered to me to hypothetically do.
I think we can hypothetically assume who those people are.
Well, why does this matter? The parasocial relationship viewers have with content creators can change and confirm political opinions. So far, we've talked about influencers, algorithms, and echo chambers. But how do these actually influence social and political behavior? For the first example, I'll be talking about red and black pill communities, which are growing on various social media platforms and impacting social behavior in real time. Black pill ideology refers to a fatalistic worldview within the incel, the involuntary celibate community, that claims a man's sexual and romantic success is entirely predetermined by physical features like height, looks, bone structure. This leads to an extreme pessimism, misogyny, and belief that women in society favor alpha males due to beauty standards. There are many red pill influencers that deliberately exploit this ideology by combining self-improvement tips with misogyny.
I use crystal meth, so methamphetamine, as a stimulant and to lean max, right? It's very suppressant of your appetite.
It allows them to reach a large audience far beyond the scope of their scene. Some of the ideology in incel communities suggest that dating apps amplify hypergamy, which is the idea of women dating up in economic status. This hyper online language, they use the word Chad to describe dominant men that can pursue numerous women on dating apps and monopolize sexual and romantic access to women. The first time I ever heard of this community was because I stumbled on it by accident, and I found very disturbing and misogynistic views of women that I didn't even know had such a large following. And as we have discussed previously, many vulnerable young men online have also stumbled upon these communities in the same way I did. And whether they related to the conversation initially or not, they were fed information and biases about women because of the algorithm and selective exposure. Now they believe that all men are also thinking this and experiencing this. This community specifically has created a platform for extremism and radical white supremacy. It has also been attributed to real violent acts. There is a lot of suicidal ideation on these platforms, and a lot of incel forums encourage people to go ER or be a hero with ER capitalized. This means to commit mass murder before committing suicide. For example, in 2018, the Toronto van attack perpetrator stated that the incel rebellion has already begun before he ran over 11 pedestrians and injured 15 others. Echo chambers and algorithms don't only create ideological communities, but also misinformed communities. Earlier, Turning Point USA, a very conservative political group, has forged strong ties to Donald Trump and has raised tens of millions of dollars pushing disinformation about Joe Biden's win in 2020. They've also pushed misinformation about COVID-19 vaccines and other extremist issues. Turning Point Action also worked with about a dozen other groups to support Trump's January 6th March to Save America. The late founder of Turning Point USA, Charlie Kirk, has also created Facebook ads that are alarmist and erroneous, that stating that the government has no right to force you to inject yourself with experimental vaccines. This rhetoric and fear-mongering about vaccines is very dangerous, and it can jeopardize efforts to encourage more young people and vulnerable people to be vaccinated. For decades, both conservatives and progressive have built media ecosystems that are created to push a certain narrative. On the right side, conservatives have established sort of an anti-establishment suspicion and distrust of legacy media. It encourages more people to cater their media away from recognized sources and towards influencers like Joe Rogan, Tucker Carlson. The media enterprises are mutating into radical political activators. It's not just for die-hard conservatives or progressives. It's for any disaffected young woman or man who pauses at authority or doesn't trust authority. Algorithmic pressures also steer regular listeners toward more conservative viewpoints. People who enjoy, for example, Joe Rogan's lifestyle and entertainment talks on his podcast might find TikTok leading them to clips of a Trump interview with him, or it might lead them to more pro-Trump content from political actors like Carlson. And as previously discussed, social media algorithms like TikTok prioritize engagement, not neutrality. So they're going to favor sensational and polarizing content. For example, conservative content is really good at that. The rapid expansion of media convergence over the past several decades has fundamentally reshaped how we encounter information. It's reconstructed identities and formed ideological alliances. We demonstrated in this video the integration of once separate media forms into a single, continuous digital ecosystem has produced unprecedented conditions for the emergence of echo chambers. Highly curated environments made possible by the algorithm, reinforced by human tendencies towards confirmation bias, significantly influence social and political behavior. Echo chambers narrow exposure to diverse perspectives. As research shows, the structural design of social media platforms contribute to clustering of users around shared ideological positions. Some generate significantly more than others. Influencers occupy a central place in this media environment. Relatability, their perceived authenticity, their direct communication with their audiences have created powerful parasocial relationships. It blurs the boundary between entertainment, personal connection, and political persuasion. These communities are not passive interest groups. They actively shape beliefs, they reinforce grievances, and sometimes they cultivate extremist views and actions. And digital echo chambers have direct and tangible consequences in physical spaces. Once again, my name is Ellie Coomer, and thank you for watching.